Brighton, it's 2 changes to the team that lost 4-2 against Everton last time out. Dan Burn and Adam Lallana come in with Stephen Alzate and Aaron Connolly missing out. Striker Danny Welbeck did not join in time to feature in the match. So Palace are 13th, 6 points from their first 4. Brighton are 16th, 3 points from their first 4 games. And it promises to be a feisty affair in London. Kick-off fast approaching in the Premier League game between Crystal Palace and Brighton at Selhurst Park. It's a 2 o'clock kick-off for 2 teams that, of course, are well known for... Well, a warm welcome along then to our coverage of this Premier League clash. It is Crystal Palace versus Brighton, the second of the day. Sheffield United Fulham has just finished, and it promises to be a good day of action. Tottenham West Ham to come later. Leicester versus Aston Villa. But this game, these 2 teams, big rivalry, and it could steal the headlines, of course. So let's hope for a good game. 4 changes for Palace, 2 changes for Brighton. If you missed the preview ahead of the game, Palace are wearing their traditional blue and red strip. Brighton in their all-the-way kits with the yellow jersey and socks, white shorts. And we'll run you through the 2 teams while Brighton just play the ball across their own back 4 in midfield. And in the Palace lineup today, it is Vicente Gaeta, Ward, Cahill, Kouyaté, Mitchell, Schlupp, Riedewald, MacArthur, Townsend as Brighton just come forward and have a shot towards goal. And up front for Palace today, it's Batshuayi and Zaha. For Brighton, it is Ryan, White, Dunk, Webster, Lamptey, Bissouma, Lallana, Byrne, Trossard, March and Maupay. It was under Trossard, by the way, that was having that shot for Brighton. Just a little bit too far wide. There's back 3 for Brighton today. Ben White, Lewis Dunk, Webster. They look like they're playing a 3-4-3, which of course can adapt into a 5 with the 2 wing backs. As Maupay just holds the ball up and wins his side of throw-in. Looks as if he's going to try and play it himself, but instead keeps it and throws it back. His teammate Lamptey, who's had a terrific start to the season. Brighton take yet another throw, which is launched long and cleared away, and it's under the throat of Webster. They do well there, the Brighton defence, but it's recovered well by Crystal Palace. Now into the feet of Mitchell, who goes back to centre-half Cahill, who skippers the side today. Here's Kouyaté. Palace just inside their own half, still goalless, and here is Riedewald with a rare start in the Palace midfield. Kouyaté out towards the left-hand side now, back to Cahill. Cahill forward, down the line it goes. It's fizzed down the touchline as well. That ball just about stayed in play, but Brighton have recovered it, and in fact at the last second the referee suggested Brighton have knocked it out of play, and it will be a Palace throw-in, and it's not gone down too well with the Brighton faithful, because their technical staff, they thought they'd kept it in. So did the players. And they were on the attack. They had a bit of a 4-on-3 situation, so it's a bit frustrating for them, but as it is, it's back with Palace in possession at centre-half with Cahill. Forward it comes towards halfway with Trossard. Trossard across midfield to Lallana. It's out towards March. Back inside to Byrne. Ball played forward. It's a nice pass into Lallana. Here is March. March goes back across now to Bissouma in midfield. Bissouma looks across. Ben White looks to have moved a little further forward. So it looks as if Ben White's going to play in a bit of a holding midfielder role alongside Bissouma. And Dan Byrne's going to play left centre half with March at left wing back. Whether that's to combat the pace of Townsend and Ward on the right hand side, but that's certainly the way this team's lining up so far. He's now back with Brighton. They've gone from the centre half position out towards the left hand side. It's going to be pumped forward. It's over the side for Ward, and it's going to go out towards the right touchline. And now it's a chance for Townsend to get down this right hand side. It's a good ball to try and play in the channel. And now referee's seen something he doesn't like. I think it's a Palace foul. And that will be played forward Batshuayi with the decision. Batshuayi back involved as Brighton clear the danger. Batshuayi back on halfway now as Palace win possession. Now it's knocked out of play for a throw is Lamptey. Lamptey's going to lob this ball into the box. It's towards the head of Ben White with 5.5 minutes in, and it is still goalless. Burn out towards the right. Chance to come forward. Now it's back into the feet of Dunk. Back to Burn. He's still playing left centre half, so it definitely looks like they've switched around this Brighton team. And now Burn just floats this ball over the top. He was looking for Leandro Trossard. He just can't find him. And Roy Hodgson on the touchline stroking the chin, just trying to pick a few different tactics that he could exploit today. His team had a decent start to the season with some surprising wins, but then were pegged back last time out. Good clearance from a goal kick from Palace. It was a great header as well from Schlupp, but Brighton win the next exchange. There's a brave header from Bissouma. Now Palace in midfield. It's getting a bit scrappy and it's worked in Brighton's favour as now March peels away down the left hand side. He's got Trossard bursting forward to try and help him. March continues his run. It's a mazy, close controlled effort from him. Trossard tries to play it back. March has recovered. March turns inside and finds Trossard. He's in the box. A chance to cross. He floats it towards the far post. Here comes Lamptey. Brings it under control. The shot is blocked. And Palace will clear the danger. And that's the best chance we've had of the match. We're 7 minutes in. Brighton trying to shoot on goal. And it is Tariq Lamptey that has gone the closest. He's just a little bit unfortunate to see a sea of Palace shirts in front of him. Taking the throw in quickly. Back with a 1-2 with Bissouma. Lamptey again tries to play the pass, beautiful from Ben White across the face. He's a little short and Ward nips in. It'll fall out to the edge of the box though. Trossard, he just falls and goes without the ball, and it is now with Riedewald who will carry it through midfield. He'll try and pick the pass through the left hand side, and he's done just that. It's towards the feet of Zaha. Zaha tries to turn inside, he runs into trouble. And now Brighton come forward. That's a good bit of feet and a good bit of work down this right hand side from Adam Lallana, who is gone to ground. The pace has really lifted in this game, and it now should be a bit better of a contest. If they can continue this, it'll be certainly better on their eye, and it'll be a lot more enjoyable for listeners as we can finally get a bit of action. Palace have worked the ball from left to right as Ward whips it down the line as well towards Batshuayi. The pass back towards Matt Ryan from Dunk isn't the best, but Ryan gets there, so does Webster, and it is now with Dunk now in midfield. It's a beautiful pass to Bissouma, and now Brighton can come forward out towards the right hand side. Lamptey's pass from the right channel is poor. It's intercepted by Townsend. Ward back to Gaeta. Gaeta's not too happy with that pass back. It was a bit risky as Webster comes flying out of defence and wins the header. It will go straight back towards the sender. Gaeta will play it out from his hands to the left hand touchline. Out towards March now for Brighton. Good chance for them to attack. It's with Kouyaté. Kouyaté clears on the line and Brighton win a throw in around 40 yards out from the Palace goal. 9 minutes in, still goalless. That throw in taken, and now ball worked out towards Ben White. White's pass is sharp. He runs into Zaha. Zaha seems to give a bit of a nudge, try and set him off his game as Lamptey goes to the byline, fires across, takes a deflection, and it will be a corner. So Lamptey, the closest man going in that Brighton shirt for goal. That's 2 efforts now. Second certainly looked like a cross, but the first was a shot. Bit of pushing and shoving. Burn with Kouyaté. Well, Kouyaté's reacted really aggressively to Burn. With fairness to Burn, he'd give him a good nudge as well. So, all very petty, really. The two just colliding, and MacArthur's trying to tell Kouyaté to calm down. Kouyaté now trying to mark Dunk. And now the referee wants a word. Well, Burns trying to tell Kouyaté this is what the problem is. I'm trying to touch you and just get ready for it. Now he's trying to apologise and just say, come on, let's calm down. The referee, though, doesn't care. He wants them both over towards him. He wants a word. I'm sure they'll have to get on with things. There's no handshake, though. That's the point with the tie, the derby match. And now the pushing continues. Burn has just got his arm into the chest of Kouyaté. Kouyaté continues to try and chop away at it. Not too aggressively, but nice and gently. They're stood on the feet of Gaeta. Lallana just going round in circles, round again as the ball comes in towards the near post. Gaeta gets a hand to it. It's going to fall out to the edge of the box, and it's smashed into the side netting. And it looks like it's Yves Bissouma smashing it towards the top corner. Just couldn't get the curl needed to bring it into the grasp of that net. And it is unlucky. Just firing wide, but a real good effort. And Brighton have certainly upped the ante in the last few minutes to have the best 2 efforts and the only real 2 efforts of the game. Still goalless at Selhurst Park. It's Palace 0, Brighton 0. And Palace, I wouldn't say under pressure, but certainly Brighton starting to get more of a foothold in this game. They've had the first 2 efforts of it. The first shot came from Tariq Lamptey. His effort was blocked on the left-hand side of defence by some scrambling efforts from the Eagles. While then, just a few moments later, Yves Bissouma had an effort from a corner, smashed it into the side netting, just couldn't get the curl needed to make sure that he got the target with his shot. But not to be. Brighton playing a back 3. Ben White's moving into midfield. Palace are going with a 1-man up front and then trying to support in attack. But the pace has lifted. It looks a lot better contest, but it is still goalless. Been a tackle here from Ben White in midfield, and he's caught a Palace player. He got a good touch to the ball, but the way the Palace player stayed down suggests that he also got a clip of the Palace left-hand side, which is Batshuayi. That's the left striker now. His numbers just finally turned into eye shots. I understand why that certainly felt the pain of that one. %67 possession for Brighton. Palace, for now, seem happy to play on the counter-attack, but whether that stays the same remains to be seen. The ball's played out towards the left touchline. Good touch from March. Now March gets the cross to face of goal. It's towards Kouyaté. He gets a good touch to it. Beautiful first touch of Andros Towns. It plucks it out of the sky, keeps it in play. He's clearing this down the line, though he's a bit wayward, and that allows Palace to have to get back in defence. Ball to the far post. Gaeta comes flying out of his box. He's caught it tremendously well, but in doing so, he's just winded himself and he has to flip around. He's on the floor. He looks uncomfortable, but he looks like he's going to be able to continue. It's just a very, very brave leap from him. Tariq Lamptey, the man that's coming with him, and the Lamptey's not the tallest, and that's not a slight on him, but he just couldn't get the height as now the ball comes across the face of goal. Oh, Brighton going for goal, and Ben White, well, he scored a terrific goal in his last game for Leeds United. That was against Charlton at Ellen Road. A thunder powerful volley from the edge of the box. This one, though, is low and hard, and he's just dragged it. We're getting a replay of the original chance, and he's picked the pocket of Riedewald. He had options to go and pass, but he went at the last second for goal. Trossard's looked across and said, "You've got to pass that." Well, Ben White said, "Not a chance in the position I'm in. I've got to go for goal." And in fairness to Ben White, that's not a bad effort at all. This season, Crystal Palace, Premier League rank, 20th for possession, 20th for successful passes, 20th for passing accuracy, and 19th for passes in the opposition half. Doesn't look too luxurious, but they've got some points on the board. It's a very good going, in fairness to say. That's the stats they've got, as Ben White wins the header from that goal kick after his missed chance. Brighton then pick up the pieces. A ball in behind looking for March. Ward gets to it. Good first touch to prod it back to Gaeta. and then Byrne is going to give a really cheap, stupid foul away. Townsend feels the arm come into his back. He goes down. The referee smiles, and Townsend seemingly, I won't say feigning injury, but certainly just making sure that back rub was timed to perfection to make sure the referee thought he had been caught. Let's take the free kick short, go from right to left. Four attempts to none, Brighton having them all. In possession again, now trying to go down the right hand side. Early ball into the box. Morpay tries to bring it under control. Kouyate got ahead to it. Kouyate is asking for a teammate to try and bring it under control, but it was really rushed and cleared by Mitchell. Up to the left hand touchline. Palace in the middle of midfield, trying to build out from the back. It's out towards Ward. He's inside the Brighton half now. Out to Townsend. 16.5 minutes gone. Still goalless at Selhurst Park. Listening to off-tube studio commentary as Townsend comes forward, floats across to the far post. A Palace player goes down. The referee says penalty. He's pointed to the spot. I think it's Michy Batshuayi that's fouled. And 17 minutes on the clock. The referee said that's an intentional foul. Lewis Dunk is pointing to the touchline, urging him to go to VAR. And I must admit, he did stand pretty still, Batshuayi. He did seem to fall over quite quick. Now it's Lamptey. Tariq Lamptey is half the size of Michy Batshuayi. Is it a big enough pull? The couple of replays we had, I just couldn't see if that was the case. But Lewis Dunk is urging the referee, can you please consult VAR? Now, of course, that can't just be the case. Matthew Ryan is trying to put the ball down and affect the play. Graham Potter looks on with his eyebrows firmly touched together. He's scrunched up, puzzled look. He looks baffled as Wilfred Zaha has put this ball down and looks like he wants to nominate himself to take the penalty. So it will be Wilfred Zaha versus Matthew Ryan. It looks like there's no sign of this being wiped out. He scored his last two penalties, Wilfred Zaha, both of them to the right hand side of the keeper. One low, one high. Matthew Ryan and his teammates have gone to put him off, and now Matthew Ryan's gone to do the exact same thing by going for a drink. Nice and timely for the Australian. Referee puts his notes in his pocket. Instructions out. Whistle goes. Zaha then right-footed. He's going to go into the far corner, and he sends Ryan the wrong way. Celebrates by getting a slap in the mouth from Michy Batshuayi, and it's Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. Good penalty from Zaha. Barely had a touch. Sends Ryan the wrong way. Absolutely no chance. And Palace, with their first shot on goal, have opened the scoring. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0 the scoreline, and they lead thanks to a Wilfred Zaha penalty. Michy Batshuayi goes down in the box after a pull on the shoulder from Tariq Lamptey. Didn't look to be too much in it, but whether he was off balance at first, I'm not sure. Brighton's defence were adamant that had to go to VAR, but not given, and Wilfred Zaha stepped up, and despite Brighton's best efforts to put him off, drinks timed by Matthew Ryan, bit of roughing of the penalty spot, Zaha stayed composed, and he's fired the ball into the opposite corner. Matthew Ryan dived right, Zaha went left. It's Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. A big moment in this game because Crystal Palace, as we told you earlier in the piece, have the worst stats for touches in the opposition box. They've got the worst stats for possession. And let's be honest, as much as we all love to number crunch and look at the stats, the only stat that matters is the score at the full-time whistle. And Crystal Palace so far this season have managed to ride it out. They've managed to counter teams to perfection. Matthew Ryan was booked for his demonstrations in the melee after that and the disagreement with the referee. Now Palace have a throw in inside their own half. It is Tariq Mitchell who will just try and guide his team into the next few minutes of this game with a little bit of momentum about them. Riedewald, by the way, first start for Palace at Selhurst Park since January. I must admit, looking at the penalty replay, it does look ever so soft now. Well, now we've got different angles of it. I think Tariq Lamptey is incredibly badly done to there. And the more you look at it, the more you see that's why he goes down a lot cheaper than he probably should have done. But of course, if you're in the box and you get touched, the ruling now from a lot of coaches is go down. You never know what the referees are going to do. But no VAR check. Palace 1, Brighton 0. And Wilfred Zaha now has 7 goals against Brighton. It's fair to say he loves playing in this fixture. Got 5 against Leicester, 4 against Burnley, 3 against Chelsea. But it is Brighton that he enjoys playing against the most, quite clearly. Throw in taken by Brighton. It'll fall into the middle of midfield. Alana's beaten to it by MacArthur. It's out to the left, and now a chance for Riedewald. It's a really nice touch to try and release the teammate in Mitchell, and Mitchell's on his way down this left-hand side. He's bursting forward. He's gone past 2 Brighton players. He goes down, and there's nothing given. In fact, it's Schlupp, in fact, that's gone down. It was Schlupp, not Mitchell. Really powerful run from Schlupp. Ben White was always trying to get to him. White move Webb to try to bring him down, and he had someone low and someone high, did Schlupp, and he's claiming he was caught. He's still in back play, just ruffling the socks and trying to check the shin pads. You did say he was caught on the ankle. Nothing given by the official. I do think if the referee got a second look at that, he might change his mind. But maybe he's feeling sorry for Brighton after the penalty. And it is now with Dunk inside the Brighton half. 22.5 minutes gone, past the halfway point of this first half, and Palace still leading by a goal to 0. It is with Webster inside his own half. He tried to turn away rather than go towards Dunk or Burn. He goes to Matthew Ryan. Here is March. March is now going to try and come down the left. He's stopped because of a determined bit of tracking back from Andros Townsend. And now March in turn goes to Dunk in midfield. He fires the ball out to the right hand side for Webster. He's going to put a bit of loft on this little pitching wedge-like pass down the touchline, and it will be a throw into Brighton. Lallana's jumped up in the air and is beaten to it by Cahill. Ryan's 20 yards out from his own goal, but it picks up possession. Brighton with Burn. Down the line he comes. It's a decent pass if a teammate could get to it. The issue is that nobody could, and it will be a Palace goal kick. Taken by Gaeta. His goal kick is long. It's beaten back by a Brighton player, but now instead MacArthur goes back to Gaeta in goal, and he's now just going to play a simple left-hand sided pass to Cahill. Out to the right, here is Townsend. Floats one to the far post, takes a deflection so it doesn't get there. And now falls to Riedewald, who's going to try and just walk this ball out of play, and he does serve so well. Trossard unable to keep it in. And the throw in is pretty much on the halfway line. Now a chance for Brighton to come forward. The ball's worked into Maupay. Maupay goes for goal. Oh, it's a tame effort from Neil Maupay. Palace now back in possession. Been a slow bit of build-up this. And it's now out to Zaha. Zaha inside to Schlupp. Schlupp looked like he was going to go for the 1-2. Instead it goes across to Mitchell, across the face of goal. Great defending from Brighton. Webster cuts it out. That allows Lamptey to get to it next. And Lamptey clears and Cahill lets it come over his head. And it remains Palace 1, Brighton 0. Out to the left-hand side for Riedewald. Riedewald runs into trouble, but he's almost got his pocket picked. His second time I'm asking, he does. Marches past, then intercepted by MacArthur. And here is Byrne back to Bissouma. Ben White's asking for it alongside Bissouma. And now Ben White just brings it under control and just plays a calm pass back to Webster. With Byrne again. Here is Dunk. Dunk out to the right hand side. Little layoff, and now back out to Ben White. So that pass was well weighted. Here is Lamptey. Lamptey's got a chance to cross it. It's to the far post for Solly March. Back in, header towards goal. Over the top. Neil Maupay, 27 minutes gone, has a good chance. Don't think he can be too harsh on himself. I'm going to question, maybe. Did he do the right thing by going with his head? He does. In terms of, he had no chance at all to react to his body to try and volley it. He might question himself whether he could have tried to thigh the ball into his own path and then go for goal, but he scored in his previous 3. He's a man that's in form, so who are we to argue and who are we to question him? Goal kick taken, met by Ben White. Up to Bissouma now as Palace head it back over midfield. Townsend towards Schlupp. Schlupp has got options. Wilfred Zaha is one of them. MacArthur works the 1-2 with Zaha. Now back, Zaha now back to Kouyaté. Still Palace with the only attempt on goal. Brighton with the 6. Just the one shot on target each though, as Palace win a free kick. Foul by Lamptey. Zaha pushed to the floor. Still waiting for this free kick to be taken. Now ball played across the first of goal. Webster gets a touch to it. That'll be a Palace corner. Great ball in. In fact, it's Byrne that's put his hand up. Puffs out the cheeks. He knows he could have, if that goes wrong, it could be an own goal. Done really well, Byrne, in fact, to actually turn it away from goal. His body, his foot was all facing goal, so to actually cushion it from behind himself is sensational work. Now he's back in defence, trying to defend here. Most set piece goals conceded this season is Brighton with 7, and Palace come with a short corner taken back towards the near post. MacArthur chests it down, looks for another option. He's been pushed away by all times by Byrne. MacArthur still in possession, cuts it back to Schlupp, whose cross is blocked and out for a throw-in. And it remains Palace 1, Brighton 0. Throw-in taken by Mitchell. Up to Batshuayi. Batshuayi tries to hold off Lamptey and does. Then Lamptey gets him with another block and it will be cleared out towards Maupay. Maupay gets it out towards the right hand side. Great bit of footwork from Trossard. Lallana's caught from behind. That should be a free kick, and it will be. I think Cahill trying to give MacArthur a bit of encouragement for his tight marking, but it's a sloppy one. Lallana feels the effects of that. Still Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0 at Selhurst Park, and the difference is still Wilfred Zaha's penalty. Brighton have had their fair share of efforts. They've had 6 shots towards goal, the last of which was from Neil Maupay, a header towards the middle of the goal, which was over the top. Before that, Ben White dragged his shot wide. But Palace, with their own effort, have got the goal that they need. They're still sitting back. They're quite composed on the counter-attack. They're allowing Brighton a bit more possession, and then just when they pick their pockets, they're springing into action, trying to go and get a second. It's really nicely poised, this game, but it is still just a 1 goal. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Out towards Brighton's left-hand side. March, though, gives it away. It's a bit sloppy, that, from Solly March. He'd be thinking he can do better. I should be thinking he can do better, to say the least. There's now Palace come down this right-hand side. Byrne stops Zaha, or at least thinks he does. And then Zaha tries to say he's injured and go down. But Byrne goes and flying down over the left-hand side. He tries to cut the ball back. It's a beautiful pass to Maupay. Maupay brings it under control, goes down. He's only fallen over the ball. He gets straight back up on his feet. And then referee says that Maupay's caught the Palace defender, Kouyaté, and it should be a free kick. Maupay perhaps would have been better crossing that. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, though, but with Lana coming in at first, real first glance on his right side with power about him. He'd have had a first time shot, Adam Lallana, ready to whip it towards goal if his teammate had have passed, which he didn't. Down the right channel for Palace. It's intercepted by Dunk. Dunk instead now goes back, and then Dunk has played the ball forward to Ben White. Great start by Matthew Ryan's penalty saving abilities, by the way. Saving 2 of his first 3 Premier League penalties. He's now conceded the last 13, which is not the record he'd be looking to bring to the table. As Brighton intercept on the edge of the box, it's Rudaval. The nearest Townsend. Townsend feels like he can go past Dan Burn, but Dan Burn is a lot quicker than perhaps he looks, or many people give him credit for. I'm not saying he's a quick defender, but he's certainly not a slouch, and he's managed to cut across and block that pass that Townsend intended for Batshuayi. He concedes a throw in, it's near halfway. Palace with the ball in hand still have the lead by a goal to 0. As now it's cushioned out to the right touchline. It's going to bobble in midfield. MacArthur tries to go and find it, but Maupay pushes him away and goes down the left hand side. Trossard nearly goes for the ball. The first time around he was a bit lazy to it. Eventually he went for it, committed, and Kouyaté was already there. And now Ward down the right touchline. Townsend's first touch is good to hold off Byrne. Ward tries to float this one forward towards Batshuayi, but he's beaten to it by Dunk. And Brighton on halfway recover possession. Back to Dunk again. He goes across to Webster. Ben White just in front of him. He's got 3 Palace players around him, so now instead it's towards Tariq Lamptey. Ben White's offered a helping hand. White back to Lamptey. Lamptey is perhaps more of a central option, but instead he has to go back up the touchline to Webster. And now here is Dunk. That's the left. Smashed across the middle of the park from Trossard. Good chance to get the ball down. Here is Lamptey, goes past his man, and that's a really good clearance tackle from Jeffrey Schlupp. Wins man and ball, concedes a throw in, but it's a really good tackle that from Jeffrey Schlupp. Lamptey, no complaints, gets up to his feet and looks ready to try and kickstart another attack. Puffs out the cheek, Lamptey. Probably feeling the pace. He's been flying up and down that right touchline. Here is Dunk near the centre circle. Back to Dan Burn at left centre half. Burn to March. Burn's gone on the overlap. March has to dribble his way through Townsend, or at least try and nutmeg and scrap his way through him. Eventually doesn't, goes instead back to Dunk. Dunk tries to roll the ball out to Webster. Webster to Lamptey. Ben White's available. Webster gets it back instead. It's now to White. White plays it forward. Mope with the back heel. It's to Lallana. Back to goal, Lallana. It's back to White. Here is Bissouma. Bissouma goes low and hard towards the left-hand side for March. March turned inside Townsend. He's back on his left foot, March. Still jinxing, still inside the box. He tries to go past Townsend. He's been forced back all the time. Terrific close control. He's now near the touchline, in fact, Solly March, but he's kept the ball. Amazing bit of work, because here is Bissouma. Bissouma towards goal. Can he find a way through? He floats the ball over the right-hand side, this time towards Webster. Webster's got the option of passing it to Lamptey, but he leaves it incredibly short. And instead, all Lamptey can do is kick it down the line and concede a goal kick. And a bit of a hospital ball from Webster keeps the score at Palace 1, Brighton 0. And of course, we've got Tottenham West Ham later. Leicester Villa are also in action. West Brom Burnley tomorrow night. It's Leeds Wolves. Brighton get a throw in. It's taken and back towards Dunk. Out towards the right. Brighton have to go back to Ryan. Not much happening the last few minutes for Brighton in terms of progression down the last couple of flanks. The last few attempts have gone. Last 2 or 3 have had to go back. Before that, though, of course, they had Bissouma and Lamptey involved. Still in possession. Tempo dropped for a second. It's with Ben White. Still in possession with Trossard. Need a little bit more from him, Brighton. Although it's not his fault that he's been marked out of the game. But you should try and help and get someone to pop up in a bit more space. Riedewald goes down. It's a free kick. The left wing once more, intercepted by Ben White. This time Brighton doing some defensive work. Last couple of minutes, the pace of the game may be affecting the players. Of course, with the derby though, you never know when it can spring back into action. It could do well here though, as Riedewald had a really good first half. Gets the ball out to the left hand side, rides the challenge. That pass towards McCarthy is a little risky from Riedewald, but he recovers. And then Riedewald goes to Kouyaté. Kouyaté left hand side looking for the run of Zaha. What a ball that is. Zaha keeps it in. The referee and linesman say not. And Lamptey does try and show a bit of urgency to go and get the ball and look, pardon me, like he wants to take a quick throw in. Lamptey down the line. Riedewald headed it back up to Batshuayi, who's barely had a touch today. Michy Batshuayi, he didn't even have a touch when he won the penalty. He was just pushed to the floor according to the official. As here is March. Townsend's bursting to try and get alongside, but March is on his way. Ward comes flying up. March goes without the ball, and it's a great dummy. He still gets the ball towards Lallana, to Bissouma. Bissouma sweeps the ball from left to right towards Lamptey. Lamptey needs a runner. He gets it with Trossard, but the pass to Trossard is a bit flat. But Trossard somehow manages to get a ricochet, but then he's dispossessed. Now Ben White goes into a tackle. He's claiming it's a Palace ball, is Zaha. Ben White's claiming it's a Brighton ball, and the referee agrees with the latter. 6 minutes to go until the end of the first half. Dunk to Burn, and Palace inside their own half defending as Brighton go past the centre circle in the middle of midfield, and it's out to the left touchline. Here is Burn again. He comes across into Dunk. Dunk looks up. He's got Bissouma. Bissouma's pass to Ben White isn't the best. Ben White does well to at least fight somewhere before launching it over the top and only into the path of Riedewald, who again with another timely interception. As I say, not started a game at Selhurst Park since January. Often plays for the youth team. But so far for me, the most tidiest player on the pitch. Some great interceptions. Hodgson on the touchline. Bit of a laugh and a joke with somebody on the pitch. Still Palace 1, Brighton 0. Bissouma out to the left. Here is March. March's pass goes behind Dan Burn, who has to stop his run. You can hear the boots on the floor as he manages to stop himself. It's with Dunk in the middle of Brighton's defence. He's in his own half. He's a 5 yards short of the centre circle. Here is Burn. Burn to Lallana. Lallana tries to ride the challenge. He's caught by Townsend. Referee says free kick. And Lallana just too quick for a fellow England man. Nifty footwork. Zips him away. March has stood over it. Trossard's come across to help out. Plenty of height. In this Brighton team. March the near post. It's a shocking delivery. To say they've got so much height, to even get it above knee height for Palace. Oh, it's a cynical challenge. And they were trying to get away on the attack, and it's Bissouma that chops Sluck down, makes sure he can't go anywhere. That's an easy yellow card all day of the week, and the referee's got no choice. And it's a good run from Schlupp. He's looked quite good so far. Ball forward, cleared away. Only as far as the right hand side. Here's Bissouma again. A couple of minutes to go until the end of the first half. And Dunk fires it up to Lallana. Good look, first touch from Lallana. Now he's got the option of going down the left hand side to March. March tries to go past Ward. Ward's going to try and track him all the way. March has a little tug at his shirt. Deflected clearance off Kouyaté, but the referee is telling March that he had too many pulls at the shirts. And against Joel Ward. Ward just shakes it off and says, "You did have a go." None of these players ever agree with each other, of course. Which comes as no surprise. A minute and a half to go at the end of the first half. What's been an enjoyable 45 minutes. Peter's going to take this free kick. Puts his foot through it. He's met by Webster's head. Kouyaté. To Ward. Ward down the right hand side. Batshuayi comes across. So does Lewis Dunk. Gets a good touch to it. So Batshuayi can't get there. Graham Potter trying to give a few more instructions out to his team. Joel Ward down the line. Palace win another throw in. March's clearance just to the level edge of the box. 30 seconds left of regulation time in his first half. Ward. Brighton win it back. Lallana towards Morpé. Morpé towards Ryan. Ryan's got to be quick here and get rid of it, and he puts his foot right through the ball. He's going to go into the middle of the park. Trossard leaves it. Webster heads it to Lamptey, and Webster's header is a really weird decision because he had so much time to bring it under control. Now Palace have come forward. Out to the left on Zaha. Zaha goes in towards Lamptey. Then Zaha's just pulled the shorts of Lamptey to make sure he can't go anywhere. Oh, a little bit petty. Nobody willing to give each other half a yard. As Bissouma goes across midfield, a curling pass. A minute of stoppage time is given at Selhurst Park. Here is Bissouma. Bissouma to Ben White, who needs to get more of a foothold in this game in the midfield. He was looking sharp earlier the doors. He goes down, he's caught late. He's back up on his feet. He's happy to ride the challenge. Referee was going to give him advantage anyway. As here is Bissouma to Lallana. Lallana's back heels to Byrne. Byrne's going to float this one to the far post. There's nobody there but the hands of Gaeta, who brings it under control with 15 seconds to go of the first half. That could well be that. Shouldn't see too much more action. Gaeta clears, and that will be half-time. The referee brings the first half to a close. So Tariq Lamptey bringing down Michy Batshuayi for a penalty. Wilfred Zaha scoring, but Brighton had the better of it and will feel they can do a lot better in the second half to equal the scoring and more. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. Morpé also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. Morpé also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. Morpé also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. Morpé also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. Morpé also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. And Maupay also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. And Maupay also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. And Maupay also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. And Maupay also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. And Maupay also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. And Maupay also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. And Maupay also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. And Maupay also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. And Maupay also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. And Maupay also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. Mopé also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. Mopé also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. Mopé also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. Mopé also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. Mopé also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. Mopé also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. Mopé also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. Mopé also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. Mopé also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. Mopé also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. Mope also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. Mope also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. Mope also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White as well. Mope also going close. So Brighton have had the more possession. They've just been countered perfectly by Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. The goal coming in the 17th minute. Michy Batshuayi pulled down by Tariq Lamptey, or so they say. Didn't look to be too much contact as Batshuayi went to the floor, pushed by the much smaller man. Wilfred Zaha smashing it into the far corner, selling Matt Ryan the wrong way. Brighton have had chances. Lamptey had his own. Bissouma fired wide. White. Welcome back then to our coverage of this Premier League clash between Crystal Palace and Brighton. Palace 1, Brighton 0 at the interval, and both teams having their chances in the first half, albeit Palace having just the one. It was from the penalty spots. Wilfred Zaha smashing in after Michy Batshuayi was adjudged to have been pulled down by Tariq Lamptey. And that was the main difference between the two. So, got to look at Brighton going forward. They want to be doing a bit more in terms of the teams. I'll run you through them. Just we double check that there's no action as Brighton just under a bit of pressure in goal. 2 yellow cards in the first half. Matt Ryan and Yves Bissouma. Bissouma's was a cynical foul. Matt Ryan was for talking back to the official after that penalty. As here comes Gaeta. Lamptey goes down, and when he's caught Gaeta, or vice versa, they both caught each other. The ball was there to be won. Lamptey's gone down, so Lamptey's holding perhaps the inside of the left knee. Gaeta's holding the outside of the right, and we might get a first injury break for the first couple of seconds of the second half. So Palace go with Gaeta, Kouyaté, Mitchell, Ward, Cahill, MacArthur, Riedewald, Schlupp, Townsend, Batshuayi and Zaha. And Brighton go with Ryan, Dunk, Byrne, Webster, Lamptey, Bissouma, White, March, Lallana, Mope and Trossard. Just trying to see the replay of that injury. Well, Lamptey's trying to jump out of the way in all fairness. Gaeta is just okay to continue. He's up on his feet. He's asking for the ball from the referee, so we're going to get play going back underway, which is good. That's all you want to see. Ball out towards this left-hand side. Zaha will try and make his way down the touchline. Ben White on halfway, brings it under control. Neat touch from Ben White. Did have a good first half, did the former Newport and Leeds loanee. Playing centre midfield, it's not often he's played there. out to Webster. Now back across the near post. Oh, beautiful dummy from Lallana. Morpé's gone for goal. Oh, deflected, and it's just caught on the line by Guaita. There's a Palace player down though. I'm not sure if it's a player that's caught the knee in the turf as a result of trying to block Gary Cahill, but what a chance for Brighton. Lallana, near post, dummy, Morpé. Well, MacArthur's the man that I think has gone down. So March's cross, Lallana dummies. I think MacArthur's left ankle is a little twisted as he then clips Morpé trying to stop him. And I think he's just gone over. Morpé's also hurt the left elbow. MacArthur's right knee, the body part, they're just stretching out. Just tweaked it, trying to get to the situation. MacArthur's back on his feet, limping towards the touchline. MacArthur still holding a leg as he's on the touchline, looking back across the field of play. I think he's willing to at least give it a go to come back on, and he is now limping his way back onto the field of play. James MacArthur. Whether he can carry on, something we'll have to see as the game pans out. So still Palace 1, Brighton 0. 5 minutes gone in the second half. Stuttering second half so far with that injury break. So not only Lamptey and Guaita, who were both able to reject physio treatment but continue after a minute or two of recuperating, but then that injury there is now really good work. Very fortunate from Kouyate. He jumps up and tries to karate kick the clearance and somehow got a stud to it as he was about to give the ball away. Palace have still got the ball with Riedewald, who for me is still the best player on the park in terms of quality on the ball. Been magnificent in terms of close control, going through the transitions from defence to midfield, then passing it himself up front. He's been one of the key players for Palace in their very limited time on the ball. Free kicks given for offside against Brighton, so it is going to be Palace with an early free kick in this second half, but it's very, very deep in their own half. It's likely going to go short and just recuperate and start again, which they do with MacArthur, who looks like he's recovered from that knock to the knee. Riedewald again drops the shoulder and carries on going forward and plays a peach of a through ball towards Batshuayi, who's in on goal, goes for goal and smashes the ball into the roof of the net, and that is a really good goal. But the linesman, he's now getting back in position and giving the signal that he's offside. But what a bit of play from Jara Riedewald again. And Michy Batshuayi, he's very, very close. Very, very, very close indeed. I think it's the knee of Michy Batshuayi that could be off. I think he's ever so slightly offside. And when I say slight, I really do mean it as well. After the game against between Everton and Liverpool, you never know. But no, it's been given as no goal. Offside it is. The scoreline stays the same. Remains Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. It was nearly 2-0 to Palace, and it's a decision, no goal, offside against Michy Batshuayi. But what a finish and what an effort it was by Palace. Jara Riedewald, for me, being the best player in the park in either team's colours. He dummied 2 Brighton players. That allowed him a little bit of space. He's carried it over halfway. He's threaded the most beautiful through ball towards Batshuayi, who stayed as close as he possibly could onside. He's running on goal. He smashed the ball into the roof of the net past Ryan and wheeled away in celebration. But before that, as he had to wait to celebrate, the referee looked across. His linesman was making his way to suggest he was offside. The flags come out. They've checked VAR, and it's the ever so slightest of difference, perhaps his kneecap, that has got him offside. Still Palace 1, Brighton 0, but what a goal that would have been. Now with Brighton on this right hand side with Lamptey down the line to Trossard. He's got to have to be quick here, is Trossard. He's quick footed. He isn't quick to go down the line though, so he has to double check his run. Now he's going to come through on goal. He's going to go past his man Trossard onto his left foot towards goal, over the top. And that is not where you want to see Leandro Trossard if you're a Palace defender. You can't allow him that time. And that's what I said in the first half. Get him more on the ball, get him involved, see what he can do. Batshuayi, you're seeing replays of his goal. Tremendous finish, just waving his arm in the air in disgust at the offside call. Of course, he wasn't to know. He had to do his job. He did it expertly as well. To get a new deal at Chelsea before moving on again, you do feel this is probably his best possible time to do something. Now a chance for Brighton to come forward. Maupay in the box, goes past 1, goes past 2, defender. Oh, great block, last ditch block. Again, seen too many replays of the effort before eventually we get the chance to go. Ben White into Lallana. Lallana's through ball is fantastic. Maupay probably should have shot. He's trying to dribble, he's trying to dance with it, and Solly March and Lallana fall to their knees in frustration. Their main centre forward, someone they can rely on so well in front of goal, has just took far too much time. And we've now got another injury. It looks like it's Kouyaté that's gone down, which you don't want to see for a Palace perspective. So really opening up now. Gary Cahill's done ever so well. So has Kouyaté. Kouyaté's kicked Gary Cahill in the head as he's gone down, but then he's landed awkwardly. He's hurt himself by doing it, but Cahill, he's actually just straight back up on his feet. So, but Kouyaté is in some serious discomfort. Serious discomfort. He's on the floor. He's not moving too much here, Jack Kouyaté. See if he can continue. He's looking across at the physio. Physio's tapped him on the back of the head. The way he's demonstrating here looks as in some serious discomfort. Batshuayi's got his arm round him. He's limping away. Mamadou Sakho's on his way down the touchline to warm up. Another talisman centre half and a player that can go straight into the fold if he's needed. Now the corner can be taken after that block on Maupay's shot, so we wait for it. It is taken by March towards the head of Webster. Maupay's at the far post for a bicycle kick. It's not the best connection, and the decision's gone against Maupay. I think he was offside, and it is going to be a free kick to Crystal Palace. It's still Palace 1, Brighton 0. We're nearly at the hour mark. Kouyaté's lower sock, Palace's socks have got a band of white on it, and he's got big dash of blood on it. Just took some water on board. He's just given himself a bit of energy. And now that's why he holds the ball up. It's good strength from the Palace big man. He's tackled by Ben White. That's why he wants a free kick for a foul. The referee says nothing, and Kiate limped his way back onto the middle of the park. Well, Hudson will be happy to see him out there again. Now the throw-in taken by Crystal Palace after that tackle by Ben White into midfield from MacArthur. He's another player that had to come through the wounds and the battle scars to carry on this game, as now Schlupp's gone past his man. Ben White's trying to track him. Schlupp takes the ball into the box. Referee says Ben White's got a touch to the ball, so there's no foul, and it will be Palace going back towards their own goal defensively. Brighton bringing it away, and it's now with Dunk from Ryan. Matthew Ryan out to the right hand side, and here is Webster. Ben White perhaps got a slight knock after that attempted block on Schlupp. Here is Lampt. He turns inside. Needs to be a bit quicker. Brighton are still looking the stronger team in terms of on the ball. Some of their players have been really good, but they just have to get that clinical edge about them again, as here is Ben White. Bissouma, Trossard, Webster. Here comes Webster again. He's now about 40 yards out from goal. Ball forward to Trossard. It's got its way to Lampt. Here Lampt is into the box. He's going to go down. A ball towards the far post, and Townsend decides to go to Rose Ed with it and smashes it into the stands. And Tariq Lampt is unlucky because he was making his way towards the edge of the box. He's not gone down appealing for a penalty, but he did seem to get a touch. As here is Trossard again. Schlupp tried to put his body over the top of him, and now it's really good from Jeffrey Schlupp. Another player that's been really effective today is Jeffrey Schlupp. Strong running going forward, likewise going back towards his own goal, and this time he puts his body in the line and makes sure he blocks off any attempted run by the Brighton player. Ball worked out towards halfway. Up to the right hand side. Palace concede a throw-in. Ball over the top. That's Brighton's attack. Lamptey's trying to keep it in play, but he's been denied. It will be another goal kick. Taken that goal kick by Gaeta. Palace in midfield. Here is Townsend. Inside it comes. Schlupp is denied. That's good work from Brighton. Now 62 minutes in. Trossard always looking behind him to see if anyone was coming. He's fouled. Well, the referee said he's fouled. I think that's poor. I don't think there's very much in that at all. It's James MacArthur that's been adjudged to have pulled the shirt, is it? It was two Palace players together, so MacArthur was one. I'm not quite sure who the other one was. Mitchell, perhaps. Yeah, Tariq Mitchell in the book, so he must have just come past MacArthur behind him. Yes, ever so soft, but Trossard's problem was he was always looking behind as if he wanted somebody to foul him. And Brighton are trailing here. You want someone with a bit more gusto to try and get this scoreline back in their favour. Here's Webster into the middle for Lallana, back towards Ben White, who again is going to try and go crossfield, which he does. March to White. Back to Dunk. Dunk forward to Lallana. Beautiful flick from Lallana. Back to March. Back to Lallana. Lallana's feet. Magic into Trossard. Oh, he just can't get the touch away. Beautiful freak from Adam Lallana. Dancing Samba-like to try and get his way through. And Brighton go down the line, blocked by Palace, but Adam Lallana took a gamble to lead Liverpool, wanted more 13 football into the twilight years of his career. And that move looks like it could be justified if he can keep up this sort of performance. Of course, he's had his fitness doubts over the years, had his injuries. But the England career looks to be over, or at least on hold. And that's going to give him more time to get some viable training time, viable game time to rest while his teammates go on international breaks. That's what they've done the last couple of weeks. As Brighton play this ball down the left hand side, it's gone nowhere. Out for a goal kick. Roy Hodgson stood on the edge of the box, sorry, technical area. He's got his number of his fingers up. He's trying to give the instructions out. Very determined, Hodgson. They were very clinical, those instructions. There was no messing there. They've had the one attempt on goal to Brighton's 10. And the scoreline is Brighton trailing by a goal to nil. Only 2-1 on target. Brighton leading by 2 shots to 1 on target. Palace have had 9 shots less than them. But of course there's only one that matters. Like we said in the first half, that will say time and time again. As Zaha brings down Lamptey. Now Mitchell has gone head to head with Lamptey. And the linesman and the referee are over now. Tariq Mitchell's just been carded. He leaned in ever so slightly with the head there, the Palace left back. MacArthur, Zaha, all pointing at Lamptey as if he's the instigator. Now Gary Cahill's coming over. Now that's when you know it's serious, because the captain's coming over for Palace to say, come on ref, it's just a bit of handbag, let's calm it down. When in reality, his player could be on his way. Now Mitchell nods. Lamptey just taps him on the back. So Lamptey goes past Mitchell, sorry, goes past Schlupp, then he goes down. So what's happened here is Mitchell and Lamptey, the free kick's been given, and Mitchell's not really looking. Lamptey's given him a bit of a swiping left leg to get the ball off him, and he knows what he's doing. He knows if he trips him up, it's going to antagonise him. It does just that. Mitchell's jumped up and got right in his face. No further action taken. Palace will be relieved because Brighton now have this free kick. Will they be relieved after this incident? Oh, as the header comes in across the face of goal, Dunk. I think Dunk's trying to claim he was being wrestled. Gary Cahill pretty much worn like a jacket. It was so tight to Dunk, so tight. Well, they both had it at the same time, so in terms of who's going to decide what the set piece is, Cahill checked the side of the scalp for blood. Palace back on the defensive side of things. They're trying to frustrate Brighton, trying to slow them down as Lamptey gets back involved and gets the throw-in taken quickly. Here is White. White's run into trouble. Does well to get a ricochet. It's hit a Palace hand. It'll be a Brighton free kick. Not that Palace knew too much about that. 67 minutes gone. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Webster up to the left. Be a big defeat this for Brighton should they not be able to hold on to this advantage in terms of possession and turn it into a goal, turn it into something, because they've been the better team in terms of on the eye. They've had more shots, they've had more touches, they've had a bit more a say in this game. But the one time they've let themselves down, they've been punished by Palace, and that's all that matters as Lamptey keeps the ball in play from a Webster through ball. Runs his way towards box now. Into the box he goes. Back out towards Ben White. White loops it to the far post. Here comes Solly March. But there to avert the danger is Joel Ward. Good header from Ward. Very good header. steers it away from trouble, and it will be a Brighton corner. March just demonstrates he was going to take it short. I think he's changed his mind. It was Lallana going with him. Ball then across the face of goal, headed towards goal. Now back out towards Bissouma, and it's smashed off the back of Riedewald, and it will be out of play for another Palace defensive exchange, because they've got Brighton on the attack with this throw-in. And I say that they've taken it short. They've dropped the ball and allowed Lamptey to take it, so there's no urgency about that Brighton throw. Over the top. That's a beautiful touch from Trossard. Plucked it out of the air. Now he's determined to try and bring up a teammate. Burn is the teammate he uses. Morpay back towards the left-hand side. Bissouma. Shot comes in. It's taken another deflection, this time off Gary Cahill, and Brighton are really opening them up now. But still, they can't find a way to test Gaeta in goal. Still, we wait for this corner to be taken. It's a right-footed option this time, though, for Brighton. Not the outswinger from March. Who will try and get in there and get this? As now it's Trossard. He floats it. It's towards Dunk. He heads it back out to Bissouma. Bissouma goes for goal. And Bissouma fires high and wide, but a good effort all the same. Still Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0, but Brighton a team, so much possession, so much attacking output from them, but Crystal Palace are still frustrating them and managing them to keep them at bay. That Batshuayi disallowed goal was a real frustration for them. Neil Maupay's gone close twice. He had a dribbling effort just saved on the line by Gaeta in goal. Then he had an effort denied at the near post of a double block when he should have shot first time from a Lallana through ball. And a striker that's in such a rich vein of form, you'd think that's what he'd do, but that isn't the case. Bissouma's just had two efforts, one blocked wide for a corner, the second fired over the top from the resulting corner, but it's all Brighton. The issue is, though, of all the efforts they've had, none of them have managed to find the back of the net. Palace have had one effort, it's hit the net, and it's Wilfred Zaha that's done it. So Palace doing all they can to frustrate, and they're doing a very good job so far. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Palace forward they come. Lovely touch again by Lallana. Really is showing the class that he brings to this Brighton team with another deft touch, and now it's out towards the left hand side for Trossard. Trossard's going to make his way towards the centre of the pitch, and out towards the right hand side it comes to Lamptey. Back into Ben White. Out towards the left. It is with Trossard. He's dispossessed by Ward, and now Townsend gets it. Now Townsend on his way down this right hand side. He needs to be a bit quicker here, Townsend, because Trossard's quick. Of course, Palace Ace has got to run with the ball, and Townsend decided to try and cross it for a bit of time, and it hasn't gone Andros Townsend's way. He's gone to cross that across the middle of the park just because he's about to be tackled. It's deflected off Dunk. It's then smashed the corner flag, and it's then stayed in play, and then he's gone and fouled him. So Palace now back on the defensive side of things. As the ball goes forward, it's from March. It isn't the best cross. Wait to see what happens here. Ball deflects out for a throw-in. Crystal Palace in no rush whatsoever to take it. Out to the left it goes. It's to Schlupp. Schlupp back inside. Chance for him to cut the ball to a teammate, which he at least tries to do. Cleared away by Brighton. Palace in no rush at this latest throwing on. Just Townsend taking an age to go across. Sorry, corner should I say. Now finally he's in position to do so. Digs the ball to the far post. Little push in the back. Nothing given by the official. Here's Rudevald. Heavy touch. And Palace concede a throw. Rudevald's pretty shocked by that. Tries to keep it. Pushing and shoving. And a lot of petulant bit of play. Ball played down the right hand side. Palace clear their lines. Here is Byrne. Trossard. Trossard into Byrne. Byrne flicks it down the line. Trossard tries to play it back inside. It hits Townsend and goes out for a throw in. 15 minutes to go. That's over regulation time. Webster to Lamptey. Lamptey's got work to do. He's got Zaha to get past. He goes down. Zaha waves the arm out to say he's dived. Lamptey's still on the floor. And the way he's looking around suggests he hasn't got anything from it. Zaha's claiming he's dived. It looks like the replay suggests that you did get a little nudge from Zaha. Zaha was quite crafty, did it down the left shoulder where the linesman couldn't see. There's no difference, by the way, in that contact from Zaha than the contact that Lamptey gave Batshuayi for the penalty. Vicente Gaeta's going to get a yellow card for time wasting. Now Vicente Gaeta gets the ball and launches it forward. It's up towards the right hand side, but Batshuayi has to backheel it into the path of a teammate. He can't do so. Here is Byrne. Byrne puts his left foot through it and works it out to the right. Lamptey jumps up with Mitchell. Mitchell wins the header, and Palace concede yet another throw in. They're getting two changes ready. Last few minutes, Brighton's attack has not exactly had as much joy. Brighton are doing all they can. Crystal Palace is sitting back and really absorbing them very well. As here is Trossard, beautiful turn. He goes down, free kick given against Palace. And Trossard stays down. Like his trailing leg was caught. It's about to swing his foot through it. The leg he was ready to pivot on has been clipped by Joel Ward, according to the official. So it is going to be a Brighton free kick on the edge of the box, and I mean right on the edge as well, to the left of the box. Connolly's one of the subs. Lallana's coming off as one sub. McAllister, that's the other. Trossard is the other sub. So Trossard off, Lallana off for Connolly and McAllister. McAllister's first touch is this free kick by the look. Floats it in towards the near post. Kouyaté heads clear, only as the level with the penalty spot. Still wrestling. Connolly is one of them. He goes down. Great touch. Palace player, is he judged to have fouled him? No. Brighton player goes down in the box. Nothing given. Look, it was Solly March as there is Lamptey out towards Ben White. Ben White into the middle for Webster. Webster's got to try and go back out to the right-hand side. It is with Lamptey. He'll put his foot through it. Kloss is slightly deflected into Morpeth, tries to bring it under control. A shot towards goal. Here is March. March turns inside, but he runs into traffic. And Palace bring the ball clear with Townsend. Townsend needs a runner on the right-hand side. He had one. The ball goes forward, and Matthew Ryan brings it under control. And you do feel that perhaps Andros Townsend took the wrong option there. All he had to do was just keep it under control, play the man in down the line and try and start an attack, but he's went for the Hollywood ball over the top. As here is McAllister to Ben White. White out towards the right for Lamptey. McAllister's on the overlap in behind. The pass is too strong, and it is going to be a goal kick. Palace 1, Brighton 0. Seen a replay of that March incident in the box. He wasn't touched. McCarthy's having a word with the official, whether he's complaining that should have been a foul for a dive. I'm not sure. Ben White wins the header from the goal kick from Gator. Here's Bissouma, puts his foot through it and goes out to the left hand side. He's going to try and release the teammate in Morpeth. Connolly's in the middle. Morpeth somehow keeps it under control and keeps it in possession. Holds off Ward, holds off Townsend, and Ward kicks out of play for a throw in. And Townsend just kicks it down the land, down the far side of the land that's just inside the Selhurst Park. Milivojevic is getting warmed up. Palace are doing such a good job of holding up play. Ben White wins the tackle, but then he has to try and get back for the seconds. Wilfred Zaha gets to it first, but McAllister nips in and wins it for another time. As here is Dunk. Dunk brushes off Batshuayi as he goes to the centre circle. Brighton started to try and find a bit more of a groove as their subs came into the game. Mitchell just watched the ball come over his shoulder. He's now going to let this ball go out of play. Tariq Mitchell, that is superb work. Really slows the game down. Another few seconds taken off the clock. Palace still holding on. Brighton have made a couple of changes to try and get the game back in their favour because they still trail by a goal to nil. They've had 27 touches in Palace's box to Palace's 5 touches in theirs. But again, the only touch that matters is the Zaha penalty in the 17th minute. In an effort to try and change the game, McAllister and Connolly have been brought on to replace Lallana and Trossard. Palace are getting their own change ready, with Milivojevic getting off the bench in the last few seconds to try and warm up. But Palace so far, they're frustrating. They're holding everything that Brighton are doing at bay. So that Pascal Gross is another sub that could come on for the visitors. But so far, it's a perfect performance from Palace in terms of defensive work, frustrating your opponents. Can they hold on with around 10 minutes to go? Ball out back with Palace, and it gets out towards the left hand side. Ben White goes over the left hand side to March. March comes into the box, all the two teammates getting each other's way. Really should not be happening. Solly March had every right to go for that thanks to the first bit of control. Neil Morpeth trying to get in his path to have a goal. Of course, as the striker that's in form, he probably thinks he should be calling rank. I thought with the angle there, March, even on his right foot, should have been able to go for it. Oh yeah, he should have gone for goal. Neil Morpeth must have been giving him the shout to move because he just stopped it. Solly March, he wasn't interested in going for goal. He stopped in his tracks. Pascal Gross is on. Dan Burn is off. So another playmaker on for the Seagulls. Is it going to be the difference that they need to get a goal back in this game? Ball over the top into the box. It comes. Gator comes and rather than catch it, decides to punch it. It come far enough. Milivojevic is back on into the fold, coming on I think by for Michy Batshuayi. He's frustrated, gets a pat on the back from Hodgson. Ball out to the right again for Brighton. 83% possession now in their favour, but Palace still have the lead. Lamptey back to Bissouma, and Bissouma has smashed this ball into the air, and Graham Potter's got his head in his hands in frustration because he's on the edge of the box. Simple cross is needed. He's now trying to give his team a lift with a round of applause, but that's poor from Yves Bissouma. Goal kick to Palace. Graham Potter still giving out the instructions. His team in possession again near halfway. Ben White goes across to Dunk. It's gone into centre half now with McAllister and Gross on. With Burn off, they've switched it around a little. Nice one, a free kick. Lamptey is denied. Syntegator's come across. Palace are making yet another change, or getting ready to do so. Ball out to the left hand side for Webster. Webster's gone down here. He's going to give a free kick. A foul in the back, down the back of him. And it's a dead leg. There's a Palace player getting punished. Don't know it's James McArthur. McArthur's trying to say he didn't mean to do it. He is getting carded regardless. So Webster's gone past him. Yeah, he's just trying to put the foot out McArthur to keep going. He's gone right down the back of Webster's leg. Screaming in pain, Webster, as he felt it. McArthur straight away put the arm up to apologise as Zaha picks up the pieces. Schlupp has smashed his way into Lamptey, who stayed down. Ball forward. Brighton down this right hand side with White. Bissouma's gone to right back to fill in for his teammate, who I presume he's still down on the deck. No, he's back on his feet. He's been in the water today to eat Lamptey. They've certainly targeted him. As there is Webster. Lamptey's got the ball again. Palace are going to try and react and attack him early doors. Then White overlapping. Here is Bissouma. Across it comes towards Webster. Pretty much both of the two centre halves that are playing in those back three are forward. Townsend trips March. And he's limping as he does so because he's been clipped down the back of the ankle as Townsend, as March has trod on him. The next sub's getting ready. Christian Benteke is the man they're bringing on. I'm guessing that's potentially set piece threats. And Jeffrey Schlupp is the man he's bringing off. Well, of course he'll get back, will Schlupp, to try and help out. So Benteke's got some running to do. So Brighton have the free kick from that Townsend trip. Ball floated towards the near post. Massive deflection still. Big goalmouth scramble. I think Gator's got to it. He has. Lewis Dunk is pushing a couple of the Palace players. And we've had this a number of times today. So much disagreement. So much passion between the two dressing rooms. Kouyate's involved again. Dunk with Milivojevic, the two normal skippers. Milivojevic just laughs and so does Dunk, and they pat each other on the back. So ball in from Groys. Dunk goes down, he is scrapping, he's kicking away at it. What happened is Gator's got his hand on the ball and Kouyaté didn't like it as Dunk's kicked him, and you can understand why Kouyaté there looking at that replay has perhaps got annoyed, because the ball was firmly in his hands, then he's had a kick, Kouyaté's legs in the way, and Dunk on the floor got the full effect. He had 4 or 5 Palace players and they fought for themselves in numbers today. Graham Potter's unhappy at the fact that he can't, his teammate, so one of his members of his team can't challenge. He's unhappy at that. So 16 shots for Brighton, 2 on target. Palace 1 shot on target, just the 5 touches in the box, 33% possession. It has been a total dominance from Brighton in terms of how they've controlled the game, but Palace took the chance they had. But have they messed up here as Ward plays it forward? It's into the path of right-footed strike. McAllister, oh, what a goal! Right-footed strike from McAllister. He smashed the ball into the far corner and Brighton finally get their goal. 90 minutes on the clock, and it's a beauty, an absolute beauty from the sub. Argentinian steps off, and Alex McAllister picks up the pieces after the mistake by Palace at the back. It was a rush clearing, I think it's by MacArthur, and McAllister thumps it home. And oh, it's Ward. Ward with his head in his hands, he knows he should do better. What a strike from McAllister. And Brighton finally have something to smile about and something they've salvaged from this game. It took a slight deflection, I think, on its way. And Brighton finally have their goal. Crystal Palace 1. Brighton 1. Alexis McAllister has pretty much had to watch his entire team get frustrated throughout the 90. Has stepped off the bench. And of course, with stoppage time, they should get a few minutes of it. There's 7 minutes of stoppage time. Now Palace trying to come forward. Zaha's cross, it's a bit wayward. So 6 minutes of stoppage time to come now. Great goal from Brighton's perspective, just doing what Palace did to them, capitalising on it. Now we have a really strong finish on our hands to this game. Brighton win a free kick. Zaha judged to have pushed over his man near the centre circle. Referees ignoring any of his appeals, which are pretty passionate. Brighton will feel that they can still have got, well, they have got plenty of time left. They really do. To the right hand side with Lamptey. Lamptey down the line to McAllister. McAllister goes past his man. Ball comes in. That'll be a corner. Crystal Palace's goal has finally been penetrated. It's 1 apiece at Selhurst Park. And Alexis McAllister's the man that scored it. Stepped off the bench. A mistake from Ward at the back. Terrible defending. Teed the ball up to Connolly, who laid it off to McAllister, who's thumped the ball into the far corner. I think he took a slight deflection on its way through, and it's all square. Stoppage time remaining. This corner still to come then. Now a chance. Brighton still not fully clear. They're scrapping away. Dunk's throwing himself in. That's potentially 2-footed. The Palace players are adamant that's an incident that should be checked, and it is a red card. Off he goes, Lewis Dunk. Well, Dunk's going across to apologise. Morpay tried to explain to Vicente Higuita. They're joking about it, but Dunk's on his way. Cahill apologising as well, of course, just demonstrating and saying sorry to Lewis Dunk, who's off. No arguments from Dunk, in all fairness. He leaves the field, he knows. Just desperation to get the goal. Just nothing but desperation. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 1, but Brighton down to 10 men. Lewis Dunk's on his way to the tunnel at the far end of Selhurst Park after a two-footed lunge on Gary Cahill. It's nothing but desperation to try and score a goal. Goalmouth melee, goalmouth scramble, pinball, call it what you want. It was messy, and just as it fell to Gary Cahill to clear it, Lewis Dunk has gone in, scissored him, chopped him in two. He knows it's a red card. He's given his apologies. Gary Cahill's on the floor getting treatment, and the two have shaken hands, but it is a red card, and Brighton are down to 10 men. Still waiting for Cahill to get on his feet. A few players now arguing. Zaha's in there. I think Webster's had a word with him. Webster's got a smile on his face, at least. Perhaps shows that it's calmed down. So the 7 minutes we had is going to be even longer. Gary Cahill is not running as freely as Roy Hodgson would perhaps like with the scoreline as it is, but of course with Brighton down a man, it could well be that they get away with it. He's walking off to the touchline. Of course he has to go off, having received treatment. Game back underway. Zaha in possession, so be my guest to guess how long this game is going to go on for, because we have had the 7 minutes pretty much, but 5 of them have been arguments galore. So we'll see what can go on as the Palace player is clipped. I think it's Ward. Now the ball's into the box. Palace feel they've got a chance here. Benteke brings it under control, chests it, goes over the top and nearly tries to head it in. It's flicked away by Bissouma. Lamptey heads it up into the air. Mitchell wrestling with McAllister. McAllister's touch is off Mitchell, and it will be a goal kick. So Brighton, Palace 1, Brighton 1. The 97 minutes are up. As I say though, we have had a lot of stoppage time, and a lot of stoppage time that was ruined by an injury to Gary Cahill. Not that I blame Gary Cahill, he was smashed by Lewis Dunk with a two-footed challenge. Referee urging Matthew Ryan to hurry up, and now of course Brighton will be taking the point all day long. Desperate for it a few moments ago, then desperate for a winner, but once they've lost their captain, the opposite can be said. Flicked away, March knocked it down the line. Connolly's going to chase this, Connolly's going to get there. Kouyaté nudging him all the time. Connolly goes down, no penalty given. Well, I'd have put all my savings on that Aaron Connolly was going to try and throw himself to the floor there. He gave a little nudge, and he has just thrown himself to the floor there, Alan Connolly, desperate for a penalty. And it must admit it's quite frustrating to watch in the last few weeks, watched him play against Manchester United, where all he did was just throw himself on the floor. Pathetic side of the game when he's just trying to win penalties for incidents that are not there. Zaha's clipped Lamptey from behind. A little bit of tense exchange between the two before Zaha smiles and says, come on, you can get to your feet, I'll help you out. Those two have kicked lumps out of each other all day, in all fairness. So it's better than what was happening beforehand. Matthew Ryan's got the ball in his hand to try and take this free kick. He's been told where to stand by the linesman. It's around 30 yards out from his own goal, to the right of the box. Could be the last chance he gets to put a decent ball forward. Brighton haven't sent too many of their defenders forward, so they're happy for the points. Ryan, so up towards Connolly. McAllister, Maupay jumps up with it. It'll fall to Bissouma. Bissouma plays it across the box, and now on his way is Solly March. Ward clears the danger down the right hand side. Great first touch by Roy Hodgson. It's not often you see that. Manager being able to control the ball, but Roy Hodgson still has the quality. Still has the quality to then throw it down the line as well, and a big grin on his face. It's done terrifically well, Roy Hodgson. At his age, experienced manager, still got what it takes to be in the Premier League. Done fantastically well with Palace. And a great CV as well over the years. Down the right hand side, Palace win a throw in. They've got the bit between their teeth for a late goal. Graham Potter's urging his team around the park. The referee looks at his watch as he allows the time to go on, but that pass from Mitchell is lazy. Lamptey kicks it down the line trying to get past him, but Mitchell is too quick and recovers really well. Picks up the error, does well, but then another interception for Bissouma to Lamptey, back to Bissouma, back to Lamptey. Lamptey has to put his foot through it and does. The right footed shot comes in from Maupay, it's blocked. Desperate defending from Palace. It was very important that block came in, as McAllister's forced back towards his own goal, and Ben White keeps it in play. But that is the end of 90 minutes. So Alexis McAllister's goal, should I say, is the equaliser on the day, and it has finished 1 apiece between Crystal Palace and Brighton. Gotta say, deserved result for the fact that Brighton peppered the goal all afternoon. But in the end, Palace left frustrated with a 90th minute conceded effort. Lewis Dunk was sent off in the closing stages. It's finished 1-1 at Selhurst.